big difference between CES and Cannes, and there are similarities in the sense of Google's here and Yahoo is here. But I think the big difference is the extreme technology that you get here, and the startup companies, and the whole space around the Internet of Things, and objects, everyday objects, wearable technology being connected to the Internet. And from my assessment, the companies like Unilever and the Nestle and the Procters and Gamble's and the FMCG, CPG companies are quite interested in what they can do in that space. What are the product extensions that they can explore, and the areas around the brand from a service standpoint or utility standpoint. You can only really get that at CES. You can't get that at Cannes. So it's a wonderful sort of fusion of the media and the advertising world, but at the same time the kind of extreme technology world of geeks and nerds and the Internet of Things and what you can do with that. So most companies don't have a lot of content, so I think trying to scale that cost effectively is going to be a big need this year. We've got all the wonderful technology, programmatic, all these great things we can do. I think we have a real lack of content. We need to somehow solve that. And the other type of content is native content. What is the content that brands are creating on their website, other destinations, and how can we better leverage that content within newsfeed? And everybody's got a newsfeed right now. We have Facebook news feeds, LinkedIn news feeds. We've got a Yahoo news feed now. And you'll see even more news feeds in all sorts of different places as the Internet of Things comes into play. So news feeds on your refrigerator at some point. And the challenge for anybody that has a recipe is who's going to dominate that space, who's going to have the native content, or indeed the paid advertising content that you will opt into that will appear on your refrigerator. So this whole area of content is the very early days, but the demand for that's only going to increase over the next few years. Well, I think video is a key part of adaptive. I mean, emotive content is quite powerful, and that emotive content can be in the form of advertising, pre-rolls. It can be longer form branded entertainment content, it can be customer service related content. So I think part of adaptive is really understanding what the customer is looking for, what's the behavior, what's the trigger, and what sort of emotive content is best going to solve a person's problem, whether that's emotional or functional. So video is such a huge area for us, and we still have conversations with clients who still come in with a TV spot, for lack of a better term, and it simply doesn't work within a very dynamic, adaptive environment. We need to really have a conversation much earlier on in the process around the type of emotive content that works for consumers in different need states across various devices. I spent a week in China in December, and what's amazing about China is that I think most people think they copy everything that's happening in the West. And if you look at technologies like WeChat, which is, in simplistic terms, their version of Twitter, it's far superior, actually, than the Twitter experience. I mean, they've got QR codes, commerce capability baked into the whole experience. And I think what you'll see over the next few years, and I say this sitting here at CES, is a lot more Chinese companies that are looking at expanding beyond China and bringing that type of technology to brands and consumers in other places of the world. So watch out for China.